Hey, what's up guys? I'm Josh. I'm the manager here at 878 Airsoft.
And this is Danarchy, and I just wreck stuff at 878 Airsoft.
And you're watching USAirsoft.
And that's a wrap. Cool. It's perfect.
Entertaining people while having fun. That's really what it's just all been about. No matter if we're playing with you guys in the field, or when we stop to film hundreds of you guys enjoying your hobby. We've been immensely grateful for everything you've done for us, and because of you guys, I've traveled to nearby states, seen a lot of awesome guns, flown in helicopters, and met a lot of awesome people that end up coaching me to improve this channel. So for all this, I'm happy to begin this countdown. From all around the world, US Airsoft fans build and play hard. These are owners of amazing builds and players of some of the most popular fields. For this edition, over 100 builds were submitted over a 2-week period, from M4s to FALs and everything in between. So you're about to see what has over 17,000 other people hooked. It's time for another US Airsoft original. This is the top 5 coolest airsoft guns, the Fan Special, Episode 2. Beginning this show with some heavy firepower backed up by a Wolverine HPA kit, we have East Coast Reconnaissance from the state of Florida with their team build Classic Army M249 Para. This squad weapon you see before you is our first team build, as the East Coast team made sure to put this 249 together with real suppressive fire in mind while taking into account for the other teammates on the field. Inside this Para, however, a Wolverine SMP kit with the standard FCU fills the non-existent gearbox's space. A new nozzle, wire harness, and a filtered grip line have also been added, while the barrel and hop-up have been left alone, which wraps up the internal construction. Moving to the outside look, we have a replica ACOG scope and a KAC quick detach suppressor for added looks, while the bipod has been removed so this piece can be used as a mounted weapon. Then to finish this build up, a custom worn paint job was graced onto the body after this squad weapon passed up 150,000 rounds of active use. Interesting enough, we received a lot of messages and requests for another LMG countdown on the last show. And here we are now dipping into this fine example of field superiority from the East Coast Reconnaissance team. This is a great build with a great look, but this wouldn't be the only 249 on this list. Moving on up in the list, we have number 4 with a Bullpup that's beginning to grow on me. So much so that I might be buying one for myself. Coming from the west side of the states, we have Josh with his smile-inducing G&G F2000. Wrapped in a custom red tiger paint job, you would understand why this stood apart from all the rest as soon as it hit my email. Influenced by the good old days of Call of Duty before players were making their characters dab, this G&G bears no internal modifications besides a hop-up air seal. As for this CQB gun, it's all about the outside looks, which of course are dominated by the paint job that took about 2 weeks with a few spray cans, stencils, and permanent marker touch-ups. While an integrated flashlight and pressure switch complements the handguard, which kept the cost down to about $395. Josh told me that Bullpups always caught his attention, and with this new camo, it catches everyone's attention. It puts a smile on people's faces, which makes him very proud of his work, and with CQB being his dominant playing style, this short and maneuverable package makes for easy play and easy room clearing. And this F2000 tends to blend in very well with freshly bloomed rose bushes. So that's always good. This build really struck hard with our judges who normally play CQB, and it did the same with me for standing out from anything I've ever seen before. Hate it or love it, this F2000 holds its own against all the others, but so does our next build for sure. For this next build at number 3, we have one more LMG that I can't say looks very comfortable, and I wouldn't say that this build is complete either. And you wouldn't need to travel very far from the west coast to find it. This is Anthony with his Bullpup A&K M249. Now to be honest, I wasn't given much information about this build, or how it was put together, or even how it plays on the field. So I'm really just going on by a few sentences and the provided photos. So let's start with the internal parts list. For the gearbox, Anthony included SHS 12-to-1 gears, a Lonix A3 motor, an SHS piston with a Lonix ported cylinder and cylinder head, and an aim top ported piston head with a retro arms gearbox shell keeping it all together. While a ZCI 6.02 barrel works with an R-hop system with a Lonix 70-degree bucking. With all these upgrades, it's said to be shooting at about 390 feet per second and is accurate to 230 feet. And when it came to transferring this A&K into a Bullpup, I was told that Anthony moved the trigger and cut the stock down. Now I wasn't really given a book of details on this piece, and maybe there's a reason for that I'm just not aware of. Should this have really taken the number 3 spot, or should it have been replaced with another piece on this show? That's where you guys come into play for this one, but don't think I dislike this piece just because I wasn't given much information about it. It's still something you don't see quite often at all, and just saying Bullpup M249 can make some people question about what you're thinking about. If anything, this is definitely a unique piece. Rolling this show down to the number 2 spot, we have something a bit more old school, something that I would run myself, something from the state of Colorado. This is Alex with his Classic Army SA-58 Israelian FAL conversion. Oh man, why don't they make full-length FALs anymore? Now, as you can already tell, this rifle has gone underneath many different mods, so let's get right into it with the exterior build. Apart from its weathered look, this SA-58 was fitted with the real steel Israeli surplus wood furniture FAL kit, a barrel extension, and an RPK bipod with a PKM flash hider. While internally, it's been upgraded with an M130 spring, a 550mm 6.03 inner barrel, a Fox custom high torque motor, a new piston and cylinder head, and a Mad Bull blue bucking, which brought up the cost of this build to around $600. This piece is claimed to be a real collector's item, and is both visually appealing and devastating on the battlefield. It took a significant amount of work to assemble, given that the real wood stock is not compatible to its airsoft counterpart, and this gorgeous weapon is a testament to just how sad that the FAL is becoming harder and harder to find in the airsoft world. I told you guys that some FALs were submitted, and this is the one that was voted way up in the submission pool, before our judges even got a chance to look at the submissions, and I couldn't agree more with the votes that this classic rifle racked up. But there were many more builds that almost got voted in, but just didn't make the cut, which brings us to the what almost made the countdown segment. These are builds that either made the show but never wrote back, or builds that I liked myself but weren't agreed upon by the other voters. Nonetheless, these are all awesome pieces that can submit again for any other countdown, which includes, of course, my main man, Gary. Gary has been an awesome supporter and friend of mine that I tend to meet up whenever I travel upstate in Texas, and many of you might recognize him from some of our videos when we travel around, as Gary tends to play his heart out whenever he can. But Gary, you know as much as everyone else does that we must move on to our final spot holders. We've arrived at number 1 it seems, but don't think we only have one build in this spot because we had a bit of a tie for first. So let's kick it off with another Wisconsin resident. This is Joshua with his truly one-of-a-kind blunderbuss. Made from a wall hanger muzzleloader and old paintball gun parts, this dream build began life with just a few ideas floating around. However, Joshua took his time dremeling the muzzleloader stock and paintball gun to get them to fit together decently. He then threaded a piece of brass tubing for the barrel and turned the flared muzzle out from a chunk of scrap solid brass. He also drilled a few holes in the stock to fasten the stock together and running an airline to the bottom of that stock. After that, Josh made a few other things like the cocking knob and ramrod, then finished it up by putting some brass banding around the barrel. Internally, this is still an old Spider paintball gun, so you could still shoot paintballs if you really wanted to, but the operator shouldn't expect any real accuracy out of it as the barrel has been way overboard. For his efforts, Joshua was able to keep his cost of this dream build down to about $200, thanks to having most of the parts on hand already. So why did this build make the first spot on the countdown? Well, have you ever seen an airsoft blunderbuss? And could you make one from a paintball gun and a decorative piece? This piece even roughly goes underneath the same muzzle loading procedure as the real classic muzzle loader would go underneath. However, it's powered by a 12-gram CO2 cartridge. Joshua built a working airsoft gun from parts, ideas, and handiwork with his tools, and for that he received our number 1 spot, and even has the pirate getup to go with it. But like I said earlier, he tied with another builder. So coming from my state of Texas, we have a sci-fi gun with a bit of a twist. This is Jesse with the Zeta variant pulse rifle build. This full metal build uses milled metal HCG pulse rifle shrouds from Metzocorp, a real SPOS 12 heat shield, and is built around a King Arms Thompson M1A1 and an AOW Cam 870, which required extensive and permanent modifications to fit within the SPOS 12 heat cage and to be mounted onto the Thompson 4N piece. Jesse had to cut, drill, and make some threads for the set screws and machine screws on a Thompson 4N metal piece, which gave Jesse confidence with his tools he used. Taking a look inside, you find yourself a 6.03 317mm Prometheus Type 4 barrel, a Promi purple bucking with the same stock King Arms nub, an SHS CNC'd aluminum tappet air nozzle, a Garter double O-ring cylinder head with a 1/4-inch servo pad, an aim top Hellfire piston with full steel teeth, 18:1 SHS gears, a Sistema irregular pitch M120 spring, and 16 gauge standard wiring. With all these mods, this build's final cost is in the neighborhood of $4,250, but it's still going underneath upgrades now. Jesse has always wanted something like how he saw in the beloved Alien movie franchise, so to him, this cost is justified. This heavy 23-pound future rifle is definitely a piece of hard work, just like how all the rest of these builds on his countdown were. But this one I've actually seen on the field before, and Jesse indeed loves this piece to the core. And he does have fun showing it to other Alien fans, which to him makes all the hard work worth every penny. So for the top spot, we have something from science fiction and something from the world's past, which wraps up our show for today. But if you liked any piece you saw here today, be sure to leave a comment down below so the builders can see what you have to say. And if you'd like to see more countdowns, just be sure to make this video pass 100 likes. Also, don't forget to vote up countdown ideas in the comments below to show me what you guys would like to see next. I'd also really like to thank you guys as the jump subscribers over the week of 600 new subs, which is really rushing us along to a 20,000 mark. And before I head out, a shout out to Beats by Nice for supplying this video with his free tracks. Be sure to check him out with the links in the description if you're a YouTube creator looking for some music for your videos. But with all these points made, I'm Scott Slade Hollenbeck, and until that next video drops for you to enjoy, I'll be sure to see you all next time.